What's going on, guys? It's Jake. Welcome back to another episode of Nook News. That's like a week and a half late? I don't even know anymore. In this video, guys, we're going to be talking about the new Beyblade news, which is Imperial Dragon, which is November's Beyblade Burst GT release. And guys, it is getting pretty crazy. So let's just get right into it. Before we get into the video, guys, hit that like button down below. Get this video up to 500 likes. That would be amazing. And also, hit that subscribe button to join the Nook Nation. I got a ton of stuff coming up, so just subscribe. We actually have 3 different pieces of news here, starting with Zwei Bahamut. This is a WBBA store exclusive, and it is this really cool red and gold coloring of Zwei Bahamut, and it looks pretty cool. Will I pick it up immediately? Probably not. I am more hyped for the driver for the Beyblade though, but starting with it, we have Zwei Bahamut. Of course, it looks nice with this red and gold. I don't really know how good this combo is going to be, considering Bahamut does not have the best teeth or anything. It is exciting to get another Zwei though. We haven't really seen many of those, and I'm hoping we get one in a future random booster or something. I just want to get a Zwei recolor that actually looks good besides the original one, but we are getting one here. The disc is outer, which is cool. We've seen outer release a couple of times now, and at one point it was an extremely rare disc, and it's not really as rare anymore, but we're getting it yet again, and it is not the heaviest disc or anything, and it came out a while ago, but it is super balanced and it is really circular. The driver though is really cool because it is Assault Dash. Now, Assault was a driver that I really liked, and Bolto MS here on YouTube is a driver he really likes as well, and now we're getting an upgraded Dash version of it, which is super awesome. We are seeing a lot of Dash drivers released, which, you know, you can complain about because, you know, we're not really getting any new drivers, or we're getting less new drivers, but we are getting Dash versions of them, which is fine. I would like to see more new drivers come out, but Assault Dash, that is pretty awesome in my opinion. Next up, we don't have a picture or like a release date for it, but we actually have a new Valkyrie incoming, and that is going to be a design contest, just like we saw with Duo Eclipse back in Beyblade Burst God. Basically, a ton of people all across Japan are going to be able to submit their own design, and the winning design will be chosen. Takara Tomy will tinker with it a little bit, and then we'll get the regular release for it. But this time, it's not for a kind of random Beyblade release like Duo Eclipse, and no shame on Duo Eclipse or anything. It was a really cool idea how you can combine multiple Beyblades together and have layer combinations. That was pretty awesome. It's going to be a while before we see this new Valkyrie release, and it's going to be a while before we see the new design. But of course, if you want to see that, subscribe to the channel. I'll definitely make a video about it. But now we are going to get into the actual news, the biggest bit of news, which is the pictures and kind of the full reveal that we got for a Dragon evolution, which is Imperial Dragon. If you guys didn't know, Dragon is actually getting an upgrade, and in the manga, we saw, and this is a bit of a spoiler, Ace Dragon was destroyed, and also Venom Diabolos was destroyed by Arthur and his Prime Apocalypse. This also means that Venom Diabolos is most likely going to be getting an evolution as well, which we'll probably see in like December or maybe January or something. It's going to be released a little bit later, but for Imperial Dragon, let's talk about it. There are pretty cool aspects about it, although it's not all perfect in my opinion. So starting off with the Imperial base, it is really bulky, and I assume it's going to be really heavy as well because it does look like there is metal on it, which is pretty awesome. I really wish we could see more metal on Beyblades in general. I think the only one that we've had for GT was what? A little bit for Spriggan, and then of course we had the metal sections of the Zwei layer base, so having more metal on layers means that we're going to see bigger impacts. The layer is really circular though, like there isn't a lot of major contact points, so I do feel like the majority of its attack power is going to come from just how heavy it is, and I also assume its burst resistance is not going to be the best, although this is one of the final releases for Beyblade Burst GT, so they could surprise us here. There were some ideas, you know, maybe this could have the infinite lock system that Prime Apocalypse has, which basically means that it's really hard for the Beyblade to burst. It just kind of circles around. How good that infinity lock system is, we'll just have to see, and I'll be getting mine in just a few days, so stay tuned for that. What's also pretty cool, in my opinion, is of course there is no layer weight. It is going to be combined. Obviously, we've been seeing that more and more with GT releases, but you are able to separate the GT chip, which you are not able to do on Prime Apocalypse. What's kind of weird though is that this is just they just call it Dragon, the GT chip, which means that we're going to have two Dragon chips, which probably will have different teeth and have a wildly different design, but they're both called Dragon. The negative aspect of the Beyblade, in my opinion, is that it does not have a disc, or you're not able to put discs with the driver that comes with it, and it's kind of the same deal that we have for Regalia Genesis, or Genesis. I still don't know how to say it. This does kind of lessen how much customization you can have, although I am kind of for that. If every single GT release was like that, that would kind of suck, but it's just a kind of a one-off thing, or now two, because Imperial Dragon and Regalia. And we are getting really cool driver gimmicks, which, you know, it's kind of a plus and minus sort of situation. So if you really value customization, this Beyblade is going to be a little bit disappointing there, but I'm all for getting cool new drivers. And speaking of the driver, it is really cool. The driver is IG dash, which means ignite or ignition, something like that. I don't know if it's 100% been confirmed, or I might have just skipped that part of the news entirely and I'm just not in the know about it. But it is a really bulky driver that has a ring of metal around it, which means that overall this thing is going to be really, really bulky, and it's going to be weighing quite a bit. It's probably going to be one of the heaviest drivers that we have in Beyblade Burst in general. It is also a dash driver, which means we are going to have the enhanced burst resistance, which is really nice to see. Although typically whenever we have dash drivers with Beyblades, that means that the burst resistance really is not the best. I think the only Bay that's broken that rule was Lord Spriggan, but Lord Spriggan was just ridiculous in every way anyways. But I don't know, I'm kind of worrying that maybe the regular burst resistance without a dash driver is going to be kind of meh. Although, Lord Spriggan, we really have no idea. The gimmick for this driver is that it really can just ignite into battle. It just can swing around mid-battle, kind of similar to RC Beyblades, kind of. It can just kind of be there and then just kind of swing into battle a little bit and maybe cause major impacts. At least that's the way it's being marketed, and it's probably the way it's going to be shown off in the anime. How much that'll actually work in real life, we still don't really know. Whenever Takara Tomy shows off just driver gimmicks or just gimmicks in general, they don't really work nearly as well as they're marketed and as well as they're shown off in the anime. So how well or how good, so how the Ignite driver is actually going to work in real life, we really just don't know. The battles are either going to be really crazy at the beginning and maybe result in burst finishes, or it's just going to kind of fail and then the Bay is just going to fade out and lose because of stamina. Another pretty big negative, although I guess it does kind of make sense, although it kind of sucks for everyone that wants to buy the Bay, is its price. It's going to be around 3,300 yen, which is close to $30 USD, and this is a deluxe booster. It's not even a starter. I know Venom Diabolos was kind of expensive, but then again, you had the launcher, you had the Venom and Erase layer base. There's a lot of stuff there. We don't really have that, and a majority of that cost is because of the driver. This means that getting the Bay at release or closer to release is just going to be more expensive for a booster, at least. Typically, boosters are a little bit cheaper, around like 15 to maybe $20, but this one is going to be a full 30 bucks, and that is the retail cost. How much it's going to be for you guys to actually buy it because of shipping, if sellers want to add a little fee onto it, which they usually do to make money, it's probably going to be pretty expensive. And that, guys, is pretty much going to wrap up the news on Imperial Dragon. That's pretty much everything that is known about it. Overall, I do have some concerns, and it's not really related to the actual Bay itself. But a little while ago, we saw, you know, a confirmation of a new generation of Beyblade, I guess. And a lot of people, and including myself, kind of took this as, you know, it's going to be a new season of Beyblade, but it's looking like I don't know. I'm keeping my hopes down. Could there be a new season? Maybe. I hope so. But just the way that it's going, I feel like this new generation is going to be these insane end season gimmicks like the Ignite driver, the driver on Regalia Genesis, the infinite lock system, just kind of crazy stuff that is happening at the end of GT, which could be their new generation they're talking about. And we still have not heard anything about a new possible season of Beyblade besides just rumors. And talking about an evolution to Venom Diabolos for a second, I'm kind of hyped for what that's going to look like. I really wonder, I mean, obviously the layer base is probably going to be really bulky. You probably won't be able to use layer weights with it. It's just going to look almost exactly like Imperial Dragon, in my opinion. It's going to have the chip, maybe, or maybe they'll do a combined layer weight and chip like they did for Venom Diabolos. Either way, it's most likely just going to be a really bulky Bay, just like Imperial Dragon. Maybe we'll see another driver gimmick or Bullet Dash, because I'm sure everybody wants Bullet Dash. But guys, that is pretty much going to wrap up the news. As a little recap, in November, we do have the DX Booster Imperial Dragon, which looks pretty awesome, although it does kind of suck. It is going to be kind of expensive. We have the WBBA store exclusive Zwei Bahamut with Outer and Assault Dash, and Assault Dash is what I'm most hyped for. And then we have the design contest evolution to Valkyrie, which we definitely will not see in the anime or anything. There's just no way that they could make that work. But it's still a new Valkyrie, and it's probably going to have a crazy design because of the fact that it is being designed by some fan in Japan. But if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button down below. Once again, we're trying to get to 500 likes, and subscribe to join the Nook Nation. And I will see you guys in the next one. Have fun, and bay away.